So, welcome to my next video. I wanted to talk about traveling with firearms, and I wanted to talk specifically about a few things. So, number one is finding out where you're going and being able to make sure that you can have your firearm with you at all times in that place. So the first thing that I did when I went on vacation was find out if I could take my firearm with me if it the state that I was going to or the states that I was going to honored the concealed carry permit that I got in Pennsylvania. So just a side note, in PA you can get your concealed carry permit by filling out an application, taking it down to your county sheriff's department, and then they will do a background check on you, they'll do the necessary checks, and then they'll get back to you and they'll give you your concealed carry permit, obviously if everything checks out appropriately. So then you want to check and make sure that the state that you're going to or the place that you're going to actually honor your concealed carry in the state that you have it in. So I was going to Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona. So Colorado, Utah, and Arizona actually honor it, but New Mexico doesn't. So when I was in New Mexico, I had to make sure that things like my ammunition was separate from my firearm. It was in a locked case, and it wasn't within reach when I was driving, things like that. So I had to check on those laws. The second thing that you want to do is make sure that when you are flying, you abide by the TSA rules and you abide by the airline that you're flying on. So I had to go through a few things. The first thing you need to do is get a hard-sided case and make sure that you get locks for that hard-sided case, because you cannot take a firearm in your carry-on. You have to take it in your checked baggage, which pretty, standard there, but for everyone, you have to do that. So I went out and purchased a hard-sided case. It is a Pelican case. So I did that. It has a compartment for my firearm, and it has a compartment for a magazine. Now, you can have your firearm with the magazine in the firearm, but it has to be unloaded. So no ammunition in that magazine or clip or whatever. The separate cutout here that has a cutout for the separate clip or the magazine, that can have rounds in it because it is in a separate cutout in the case, so that is fine. So that's what I did. So I had an empty magazine in my handgun, and then I had a loaded magazine in the separate cutout while I was traveling. When you close your firearm, obviously you have, these, they're not really locks, they're just to seal the case. But then you have these little holes here, and the holes actually allow you to put a lock in through the hole. So then I was able to take this, it's a corded lock, and actually stick it through the hole here, and then I could actually bring it down and seal the lock. So these are TSA approved locks. You do not need to use TSA approved locks. However, I did use them just in case for some reason they needed to get in. I did use a TSA approved locks, and two of them, one on either side. When I got to the airline, I fly Southwest. So what you need to do is let Southwest know that you are flying with the firearm in your checked luggage. And then they'll give you a nice little tag to stick on your bag. What you need to do is you fill it out. It's a firearms declaration tag, and you'll fill it out with your name, your address, phone number, the flight number, things like that, where you're going, where you're landing, where you're coming from. There's a PNR number that they fill out for you, and then they'll actually, you sign the back of it, and they'll actually slap this, tape it to your firearm specifically. So they'll have you open your bag, get the firearm case out, and they'll actually tape it to the firearm case. And then they'll actually go take your bag through a scanner, and they'll scan your bag, make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, things like that. And then they'll actually put it in with the rest of the checked luggage, and then you can go through security. So pretty simple. I also keep, and this did not come into play at all, but I actually kept my record of sale of my firearm, a copy of it, not the actual record of sale, but a copy of my record of sale in the gun case as well, just in case for some reason they needed to see that as well. So and this is just so you can see what my gun looks like. Again, the unloaded magazine here, and my gun is not loaded. And then I had the separate magazine here that actually has the rounds in it, as you can see there. And that was in the separate compartment. And then I had the unloaded magazine actually in the gun itself while I was flying. So that's pretty much it for flying with a firearm. Like I said, make sure that you know the state or the country that you're going to and what their laws are. I was flying in the States, like I said, making sure that they honor my concealed carry permit, and then because some states will not, and then knowing, you know, the rules and regulations of both the airline and the TSA, what they need when you're there, and how to actually properly carry your gun when or store your gun when you're actually flying. I also fly with a knife, which I don't have on me, but I fly with that. I put that in my checked luggage as well, because you're not allowed to have that in your carry-on. So I put that in my checked luggage as well. But I kept all of that with me when I was traveling. I didn't obviously use it at all, but I did keep it with me. I do have a holster that I keep my gun in as well while I was traveling, you know, in case you run across certain people that may threaten you, or, you know, in a certain way, or wildlife, things like that. When I'm hiking alone, things like that, I didn't have my dog with me, so so I did keep it on me for those reasons as well. But so yeah, so properly flying or traveling with a firearm. And that's it. So if you guys have any questions or comments that you want to make, I'm open to answering those. It's pretty simple as long as you're doing the right thing. So stay safe out there, everyone, and follow the rules. All right, have a good one.